6 years ago, we bought an abandoned 78-foot luxury yacht that hadn't moved in years. She was termite eaten, leaking, stuck to the ocean floor, and completely covered in black mold. At the time, we thought we were buying our dream retirement. What we didn't realize was that project would become a full-time job and teach us a long list of lessons we didn't know we needed. So in this video, we're taking you back to the beginning. What we thought we were getting into, what actually happened, and whether buying an abandoned yacht like this was a smart move or a terrible mistake.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Welcome! We're Blaine and Janice, and we're bringing our 1969 aluminum yacht back to life the only way that works. Tear it down, put in new tech, and do it ourselves. If you like real wrench-turning boat work, hit subscribe. A major upgrade starts in January. One of the biggest reasons why we purchased Tangaroa is the look of the boat. We love the lines of the boat. She had personality, she had style, and we really, really liked that. I mean, look at these lines. You got curves everywhere, you got angles in there to add to it, and she's just got a really nice, lovely, classic look, which was a huge plus for us. Another big thing, aluminum. Had to have an aluminum boat. We were looking for aluminum. That was always in our list of attributes that we wanted for a boat. Because for me, I'm a fabricator. That makes life easy. Anything that needs to be fixed, I can fix. Aluminum lasts really well. It's one of the longer lasting hull types that there are out there. I'm sure you'll get people that will disagree, but I'm sticking to my guns on that. And then other than that, powerboat. We wanted a powerboat. Janice and I had spent years working in living on sailboats. And then we kind of got to the point in our lives where there were a few of the things about powerboats, specifically this one, that we really love. One, tons of windows, lots of light coming in, lots of visibility, ease of cruising. You know, we didn't need sails anymore. I mean, yeah, it makes a great backup and it's fun, but it's something that we really didn't feel like dealing with anymore. We didn't want to wait for times where the wind was coming from the right direction. We didn't want to be bashing into the wind on a sailboat. Prefer to just be able to fire up the engines, off we go. Easy. Size of the boat, like 80 feet, we were looking for something around the 50-foot range. Small, simple, but we had 2 kids. And we just couldn't find anything with the other attributes that we were looking for in something that had cabins for everyone. That just wasn't available in where we were looking. Now, to kind of conclude that part a little bit, we ended up pulling the trigger on Tangaroa. And budgeting was a big aspect for us. I mean, obviously, we didn't want to spend a lot of money on a boat, and especially something that needed a lot of work. This one kind of fit our budget, and we knew it was going to be a lot of work. We weren't kidding ourselves about, you know, quick jobs. Like, this was a lot of work, and we were aware. Now, when I said we didn't mind the size, that was kind of before we really got a look at the boat. I mean, this thing was rough, and with bigger size on a boat that's in rough condition comes bigger work. A lot of bigger work. Another big thing for us was budgeting. This was a lot of boats, and obviously boats in this range can go for a lot of money. Obviously the ones that are in a lot better condition. We knew that we had the time, and we knew the amount of work that was going to be involved with this. So this was all good for us. I mean, ultimately, we weren't buying a yacht. We were buying good bones. We knew that this boat had good bones, and that as long as we had that, we could do whatever else we needed to do, and we could truly make it ours. Now, this boat was on the top end of the budget that we wanted to spend for something like this, and it pretty much took all of the current liquid assets that we had available to us, and we ended up having to borrow a little bit of money from our sister to get the fuel to get the boat back down to Victoria, because we didn't have that available at the time. So yeah, it took what we had available at the time. But yeah, it was quite the experience. We came up to look at the boat, and funny story, when we showed up, I mean, this is Wrangell, Alaska. There's not exactly boat brokers everywhere. The broker wasn't even in town. I think he maybe even lived in Ketchikan or something like that. He just sent us an email and said, hey, help yourselves to the boat, guys. Whatever you want to look at, whatever you want to do. The key is in the freezer on the aft deck. Help yourselves. So we pretty much had free reign to do whatever we wanted on the initial look at the boat. And that was a little bit of an odd one. So after we got the boat back down to Victoria, the real push to move on board began. Obviously, this boat was not ready to be lived aboard. It lacked considerable amount of things that are required for real live aboard. And one of those things was heat. The first thing that got installed on this boat was the Dickinson heater. It was the only real heat on board, short of running the generator and having space heaters going. And what we did was Janice and I came out here every weekend or whenever we could, and we had a mattress we would lay out right here across the main salon floor, and we'd sleep here because we had the heat there. There was nothing in the cabins. We didn't want to run the generator all the time. So yeah, this was our main living area. And you know what? It kept us going for a little while. Now, another thing that was blatantly obvious that needed work to live on board was the electrical. We didn't really have a house bank. Everything was running off the engine start bank, which was a bad idea, and we had issues with that in the past. So we ended up going with lithium. We went with a big solar bank up top, so we could actually live on board, not have to run the generator all the time, and be pretty comfortable with that. And that's my bank. And the last piece of the puzzle for living on board was the water maker. It required a massive amount of work to get going. New membranes, new membrane housings. I had to redo the motor on it. It was a pretty decent sized project as well. But these were all things that we just needed just to be able to get moved on board and really start digging into the main things that we needed to do on the boat. If you're a fan of the channel and you've been watching us for a while, you'll kind of realize, and if you're new to the channel, I'm going to explain it. When we moved onto this boat, and to this day, we live in a construction zone. Just like being in a house refit, we are in a constant state of working on the boat. There is never a time where we don't have a project going on, or several for that matter. As you can see, to this day, the engine room is still like a bomb went off in here. And we just keep going with the projects that we have. But trying to live and work around all of that, it takes a little bit of getting used to. And I mean, honestly, it went from just a refit to consuming our lives. This became all encompassing for everything we did. Any spare time we had in our lives, we were here on the boat, working on the boat, and we still are. Now, as I said before, we knew that there was going to be a lot of work, and it's not a money thing for us, it's a time thing. And when you get into a project like this, it is a monstrous amount of time. And with that monstrous amount of time, if you're willing to give it, comes the downsides. There's a lot of fatigue when you are constantly on the go. At this point, we're still working day jobs, so I'm working all day, and then I'm coming here at night, and I'm working until late. Summer times, regularly working 10, 11, sometimes midnight, depending on what I'm working on. So yeah, really, really took a toll on us for just fatigue, lots of fatigue. And I mean, you guys know how that feels. We're not getting any younger. So yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of discomfort. I mean, obviously we're living on the main salon floor at first. There's not a lot of easy, full rest that we're getting at night. So this just compounds onto everything else. And then with that fatigue and being tired comes second guessing what you've done. Like, did we make the right choice? Was it a good decision? Snapping at each other because, any boat refit and anybody who's ever been through one with a spouse, that there's going to be some bickering that you're going to get into. So we were not immune to that. I mean, there was definitely nipping at each other on occasion, and that still happens occasionally as well. Obviously, much less these days because we're really enjoying the boat a lot more. But yeah, a lot of that comes into play, and you got to just push through all of that. So at this point, we are 6 years in on this project, and time has just flown. We've done new engines, we've done new generators, we've done the water maker, the batteries, the solar, the navigation system. We've rebuilt the pilot house, we've rebuilt the galley. We've started on heads downstairs. We've redone the captain's cabin into storage. So there's, it always feels like we haven't gotten enough done or haven't gotten much done. But when I sit down and I actually think about all the things that we have done on this boat, we've done a lot on this boat. Years worth of effort, rebuilding windlasses, redoing upper deck components, you name it. Like, it's nonstop. And 6 years of doing nonstop, you tend to get a lot of stuff done. Now, we're a long way from finished, and we may never be finished. I mean, this is, I will add a note that we enjoy this. This is not, while I do get frustrated on occasion, I'm sure Janice does as well, this is fun for us. This is kind of a keep us busy, doing things we love doing kind of job. It's just, yeah, we love it. I don't know how else to put it. So after 6 years, I'll be honest, this has taken a lot more than what we had originally planned. But I can also say that this boat has given us way more than we would have ever expected. Hi everybody. So here's Janice and I chilling on our future back deck. We really like it. It's nice. Gonna need some love, but we'll do it.
Before we go, a huge thank you to our Patreons and online crew. You're the reason we're able to take on projects like this, including the big one coming up next that you already know about. And if you'd like to be a part of the crew, it's not too late. Check out our website or join on Patreon, and please subscribe. We truly appreciate it.